Christmas consisted of a few beautiful days at home with the family. Unfortunately, I'm on duty over the changing of the year and cannot be with my loved ones. In the beginning of January, I'm then supposed to be transferred to the Tank Troop Academy and train future tank crews and tank gunners. Oh well, let's wait and see what that will be. Once again, there's an air raid alarm. Everything is blacked out. We then go outside, most of the time, and look at the sky. Once in a while, one can witness the aerial battle in silhouettes, but usually there are clouds in between. When all that's left is the noise of the engines. It appears to be quite a few planes, but nothing's coming down right here. We are not the target. But then, in the sky, we see a trail of a fire zooming through the clouds. Apparently, a bomber is going down in flames. Either there was flak, or, indeed, the night fighters were successful. So, we are not entirely defenseless after all. The plane rushes above and beyond our building, and in some distance crashes into a field. No one will be alive there any longer. Already, like the wind, a process is gathered, and in the dark, we get on our way with 2 trucks and a field car. We drive with dimmed lights, which is making the ride quite cumbersome. It takes an hour until we finally get to where the bomber has impacted. The burning wreckage is still lying scattered here and there. The forward part of the fuselage appears to be still in one piece. It's already slowly becoming daylight. We received the order to search the wreck. The air raid alarm has been cancelled. We make our way across the muddy field to the plane. It's American or British, I'm not sure. My unit carefully approaches, and our first lieutenant is admonishing everyone to caution. The pilots don't allow themselves to be taken prisoner too easily. If anyone there is still alive. I've already had stories that crews of crash planes were captured by civilians and beaten to death, out of anger over the dead after attacks on the cities. So we're also here to protect possible survivors. We are protecting the enemy. The world is sometimes impossible to understand. So, cautiously into the fuselage. No shot rings out inside there. We still discover 3 men of the crew. 1 is dead, the other 2 severely injured. The fire had messed them up considerably, but they're still alive. Try to free them from the wreckage. That's not so easy, since a bunch of metal there got twisted. But after a good hour, we got the 2 men out. They're Englishmen who were pulling out of the wreckage here. One of my comrades remarks it was a Wellington bomber. With a truck, we drive to the nearest hospital so that the men are cared for. For the injured, the ride seems to be very strenuous, because they constantly moan and whimper. My English is not good enough to always understand everything the men are saying, but I'm later told that one was constantly asking for his wife and kids. A wounded enemy is always still a human being as well. So, the 2 are handed over to a doctor. In the afternoon, we again drive over to the crash site and assist in recovering the bomber and the wreckage. 3 more dead British soldiers, Tommies, are also later discovered. They apparently were ejected from the wreck during the crash. Actually, I'd always harbored hatred against bomber pilots because they're dropping death and destruction on the defenseless women and children. But now, I see that there are soldiers who also just have their orders. These men, too, have families, have wives and children, and certainly would rather sit at home in the living room than to carry death over German cities with the planes. The New Year's Eve party I'm spending at the barracks, since I have to be moved to my new unit at the beginning of January. Now it's going to Bergen-Belsen, to the Tank Troop Academy. My task there will be training young tank gunners and passing on my frontline experience. Actually, this is not a bad choice, since this post isn't too far away from Hamburg. First days, again, are marked by lots of paperwork. I'm assigned quarters for non-commissioned officers with 3 comrades, and I notice right away that these are good men who I'm now sharing my room with, all veterans of the Eastern Front, who, for various reasons, are now here supporting tank troop training. A teaching job, or rather, a job as an instructor. I've never done anything like this before. Certainly, at the front I had always shown the young tank soldiers how things are done. But here, I have to actually give theoretical lessons and to relate to the men the shooting of enemy tanks and anti-tank guns. For the first training lessons, I'm posted to assist a master sergeant so I can get a picture of the procedure. So now I'm sitting just like on a school bench and listen to what the instructors are relaying. Off and on, I'm also asked something and I'm supposed to relate my experiences. Theoretical training is characterized by maps, sketches, and photos. One can see the enthusiasm of the young soldiers. All are at it with much eagerness, and apparently can hardly wait to gallop with their steel horses through the red lines. They probably think differently about it after their first battle. Most of them grew up in the Hitler Youth, and have received a considerable dose of propaganda. Here, we have to not only show them how to fight, but also how to survive. Now and then, there's mail from my comrades in my company. A few of the old hands are writing me a few lines, according to which the men aren't to be envied. They lack many things, just not fighting spirit. It keeps going ever further back, bit by bit. Especially in the winter, the Russians are better in combat than we. The cold does not seem to bother them, but the men whom you know are also becoming less and less. The losses are high. Some are no longer fit for frontline duty, posted to staff units, or have other tasks behind the front. I have not yet given up hope and believe my eye will still improve. After the first week here, I'm already seeing a doctor and having myself examined. I explained to him that I soon want to return back to the troops. He simply states that with these eye problems, it won't then be rather in the supply train. That still does not suit me. But I'm not yet at the end of my wits. I spend many nice evenings with my non-commissioned officer comrades and listen to what they experienced in the field. The men have been through a lot and lost good friends inside their tanks. They've also suffered numerous injuries. Therefore, they're glad to now be allowed to teach here. Everyone also tells about their comrades and how partially capable, but also partially incapable men these had been. I also mentioned my time as a commander, and all are wondering why I wasn't a sergeant yet. I'm telling that then as well. And now they all know that it was all my fault. I once again talk about the issue of the head and the turret hedge. Also mention my commander Krugstein, at some point, who then, as lieutenant, went home to the Reich with the 1st Tank Regiment. These were then equipped with Panzer tanks, and had I not messed up so much, I'd be there as well. These comrades are now stationed in France and are trained on the Panzer V, according to one of my comrades. They were lucky dogs, states another. Those were great. The 75mm of the Panther could apparently turn anything to mush. I had to deal with Panthers near Kursk. Indeed, they were terrific. Yes, that be something, I conclude, and we drink to all that with a bit of schnapps. January is soon coming to an end, yet my eyes aren't improving. The training is alright, and as often as I can, I drive to the Gudrun and Mareike. Everything there is going great. I don't have to worry much about it. I continue trying to inquire with the training leader whether I couldn't be reassigned to my crew again soon. He's a good officer and can understand my desire, but I'm needed here after all. Frontline duty is out of the question. For now. And therefore, I place all my bets on one card. I write to the 1st Regiment and to my old commander. I was here and would like to be back inside a tank. Whether he couldn't get me out of here somehow. Express it as best as I can. 2 weeks later, 1st Lieutenant Krugstein does appear in Bergen-Belsen. He's on his way to his family and wants to talk to me before then. I'm very happy. We have a lot to talk about with each other. France was very pretty, and the new tanks were great. Simply a fantastic design, and the men could hardly wait to finally give the Russians a proper thrashing. When training was lengthy, it was really good. The men were motivated, and if it all worked out, it should soon be going back to the Eastern Front. I'd like to be a part of that, I say. Well, yes, with these eyes. At the tank optic, that probably wouldn't work, states Peter. Well, then as a commander, I still remark, but Peter bursts the bubble right away. I don't think that's going to work. First, I would have to make you a sergeant. Due to your personal history, that wouldn't be easy. But I could take you to me as a loader, for now. And then something will come up, suggests Peter. I contemplate whether that's what I really want. Quickly, he notices that I have doubts. But of course, the path to the tank optic would then be easier. How it is going here, with aiming during live fire training? Peter wants to know. I haven't tried yet, I reply. So test yourself at the shooting range. Write down your hit ratio, and when I'm driving back to the troops, I stop here once again. That's a great idea. I'll do that, I answer Peter. I don't think Gudrun will like this, but the entire time here is also not making me happy. So let's get at it. In the coming weeks, I'm already riding along to live fire exercises. As often as I can, I ride along to the shooting and try to always make a few shots available for myself. My master sergeant is allowing this, and I asked him to note my hits, which aren't too bad. They're not perfect, but I hit better than the young tank soldiers. I want to tell this to Peter when he will be here again. A few more days. And then it will be time.